I'll just give a quick introduction of our speakers, next speakers. So Prithviraj is the land and forest governance researcher at Land Conflict Watch. For the last 1.5 years at LCW has been studying land and natural resources conflicts. Based on his field research, he has been writing on the changing land and forest policies and its impact on governance and people's lives. Previously, he has worked as a reporter with news portal NewsClick for 4 years. Prithviraj has pursued BTech from Hyderabad and holds a master's degree in communication from the University of Hyderabad. Jeff is a researcher and writer with Land Conflict Watch. He has been a journalist in the past. He has worked with The Lead in the past. So I'll welcome Prithvi and Jeff to give the presentation.
Thank you, Sambo. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Holding Ground 2022. So I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Prithviraj from Nalgonda district in Telangana. I did my master's in communication from University of Hyderabad. So I started my career as a reporter with NewsClick. I worked there for 4 years, covering social movements, agriculture crises, evictions, land problems, so many reports. I was writing a lot of reports every day, follow-up reports, trying to understand the question of land, the land problem, basically. I was always interested in land. So, like we hear in movies, that rich gets richer and poor gets poorer. So I want to understand that thing. So, for example, my rich friends who's they moved to US. They're working as software engineers, and they're buying land. They're sending money and they're buying land. And their parents are buying land in Nalgonda, Miryalagoda, Adilabad, everywhere. So land has become a very crucial asset to everybody, and I don't think if it was 10% important in 20 years ago, I think it is 10,000% important now. So at LCW, I got this opportunity to study land and forest. So I'll share my field-based research experiences with you today. I'll not take much of your time. So I have 3 case studies, one from Haryana, one from UP, and one from Gujarat. So, starting with Haryana. So, there is a scheme called Swamitwa scheme. In this scheme, basically, what is happening, there is a phenomena across the country that drones are flying across all the villages in the country. This is a phenomena. You go to any village, you ask them, did drones come to your village? People say yes or no, or they're waiting to see them. So what are these drones doing? They are actually, so basically this is a very good scheme. When I first read about this scheme in 2020, so most of the village lands are not surveyed so far. So basically people don't have any documents to prove that a portion of land is there. So Narendra Modi in 2020, he has introduced this scheme, and I thought it's a really very good scheme. The government is doing really good job. So, but later on, I started seeing newspaper reports, where problems are being reported, that the scheme is not being implemented properly, all these things. So I wanted to study this. So last year in 2021, I went to Haryana, Mahendragarh district. Haryana is one of the states where the scheme is implemented, on a high scale. So I went there, I met farmers, sarpanches, officials, to understand how is this scheme, playing out on the ground. So what is happening is one sarpanch told me that there was a haste in implementing the scheme. There was a haste in the sense that it started in the pandemic, the core pandemic, when the world is, in the fear of coronavirus, drones are flying in the villages. So that is the situation. And when I asked them, officials are telling us to do it quickly. So basically, So drones will survey the village lands which were never surveyed so far in this independent India, and so so they are creating maps. They're creating maps, and they are giving identification numbers, everything to the plots, and they are distributing it. So, but gram sabhas need to be conducted, held. People must be involved in such a very crucial process, and that was not the case. Is a most common answer which I got from Haryana. If you see this picture, the person who is standing in front, his name is Sanjay Singh. So his father's name is Rawat Singh. So he kind of he's a government employee. Sorry. So his father has a problem with one of the property cards created through this scheme. So, but Sanjay Singh, being a government employee, he could fight and try to resolve his problem. But the people sitting backside to him, they are still struggling to get their disputes resolved. So what is this scheme? How is it playing out right now? This is the data, latest data. So drones flying has been completed in 2.3 lakh villages across 31 states and union territories. And of these, property cards were distributed in only 43,763 villages. Look at the priority. So basically, government is buying drones and all. That is the priority, but the real outcome, the generation of property cards, you can see the numbers. Next, I want to take you to Uttar Pradesh, where this problem of land acquisition, this common problem of land acquisition, I wanted to study it. So in last November, I and my colleague Mukta, we went to Jewar, where Noida International Airport is being constructed. So this photo by Mukta, it's like it's a family where they are standing in front of their demolished house. So basically, the main claim in Jewar is that the people were not being paid the compensation properly. Basically, everybody, like most of them, were happy to give their lands, but they don't want to get a smaller rate. So what is this thing? So who is lying? So government officials are saying like they are paying it properly, but people are saying no. So we wanted to find out what exactly has happened in Jewar. So we kind of filed RTIs, we met activists, we met officials, everything. So we did, and we tried to understand who is saying the correct thing, officials or the people. So, and one more common phenomena which I noticed here is, in not only here, in every land acquisition problems, you can see that some communities are supporting a project and some are not supporting, and there are also fights. So this is a thing I also noticed in South India, Telangana, Andhra. So why these communities are fighting each other instead of uniting and fighting against the government? But this is a thing which is happening, and this is also a thing in Jewar. So this is basically mostly a sense of fear of losing both land and money is common across such land acquisition problems. So most of the time people end up giving up in their fights. So I'll tell you some numbers in this thing. So basically what the government did. So before notifying the airport, the Jewar was a rural area. So it was suddenly notified as an urban area, and then the land acquisition notification comes. This is what the government did first. And then later, so basically according to Land Acquisition Act, if it is a rural area, they have to get 4 times the rate of circle rate. If it is an urban, 2 times the circle rate or market value. So, and another thing which government did not do is, it has to update for every 6 to 7 years the circle rates of the area. So they did not update the market value. So at an average, like in our calculations, they could have got 117% higher compensation. This is the reality in Jewar. This person, you can see, he's a RSS Pracharak. He was also a Sarpanch. So despite his government, he was opposing his government's move, but he couldn't win in his fight. Next, I'll take you to Gujarat, where I went and tried to study the land digitization problem. So basically, Gujarat, Narendra Modi is very, he likes surveying, basically. Surveying, and it's a really good thing. Even but the problem is, it's not being done properly. So in Gujarat, in 2009 only, he started a resurvey of all the agricultural lands, rural lands in Gujarat. But that project couldn't get, it was never finished and it failed. This is my finding from the Gujarat, from my field visits. So these are the farmers. Basically, their problem is that, Gujarat government wanted to digitize all the land records. So basically, land records are earlier books and all. So they were like computerized, and then technology, high technology are used, and new digital maps. You see all these on your Uber and Ola, such kind of satellite imagery maps they wanted to create for the rural agricultural lands and all. So, but Gujarat has created, in 2/3 of the villages of such kind of digital records, but there were at least 5 lakh complaints. So 5 lakh people have suffered because of the faulty resurvey conducted by the Gujarat government. Of course, it was conducted by 9 private agencies implemented by the government. So these are all the affected farmers from a village in Rajkot district. So both of them are farmers. So this person who is standing in his land, he says that is his land, but the new village map is not showing that land is his land. And the other guy, he has been fighting with his brother, because his land is being shown as his brother's land, and his brother is okay with it. So basically, I'll conclude with this thing. So what is the solution to this land problem? And what are the common things which I find? Like, the common thing is like, there is corruption in the revenue departments, unchecked, uncontrolled, and there are fake land records which were created like decades older, and it's still a phenomenon. People still, still talks closely about, we got that land through a shady deal and all that. That is what's happened, and a comprehensive land survey is something needed for this country, and correction of all the records is something needed. So, and dispute resolution mechanisms, villages must be, they need some dispute resolution mechanisms, so that such kind of problems are addressed at every level, village level. And I would like to end my presentation here, and I want to introduce my colleague Jeff Joseph. I have been working with him for the last 1.5 years. We have been working like virtually. Today only I am seeing him first time. He's my good colleague and best friend also. He will talk about his experiences from South India. Thank you.
Thank you, Prithviraj. And so I would like to start with the conclusions that Mrinali had pointed out, which is that conflicts, or rather land conflicts, are not very black and white, where people are opposing projects tooth and nail. It is more about how government responds, and how the government responds to people asserting their rights. So I would like to start from here. And before that, I would like to thank Kumar Sumbhav and Nitin Sethi for guiding us with our research. We do the public-facing research at Land Conflict Watch, me and Prithvi. And so, to start off, I'll be talking about 3 states. One is Kerala, the second one is Telangana, and the third one is Tamil Nadu. So the issues I'll be talking about is, in Kerala, it's about industrial pollution, the protests that it leads to, the conflict surrounding it, and how the government responds, or rather it chooses to suppress such protests, the evolution of such protests and responses. And in Telangana, I'll be talking about illegal municipalities which exist in Schedule 5 areas. Illegal in the sense there is no provision in the constitution, or rather, there is a provision in the constitution which bars extension of municipalities into Schedule 5 areas. But across India, there are municipalities which continue to function rather normally or exceptionally well. And the third issue I'll be talking about, the third case study I'll be talking about is on Tamil Nadu, which, despite its record of progressive politics, welfare state politics, continues to ignore or rather neglect the rights of the tribals. And it fails terribly at recognizing their rights within the FRA. So first off, I'll start with Kerala. So this is Chalakudi River, and the conflict I'm talking about surrounds this river. It is regarding an industrial unit which has been functioning since the 1970s, and what it basically does is it releases its waste directly into this river. By the way, this is a freshwater river. It looks muddy because I took this photo during the monsoon. And this river flows from the Western Ghats. It flows to the Arabian Sea. So this conflict surrounds basically this river and the villages which surround this, which exist on either side of the river basically. Now this is a company, the polluter. The company was founded in 1979. It's an industrial unit of a Japanese company, Nita Gelatin Inc. Now in India or in Kerala, when they started, it was started as a joint venture with the Kerala state government. The Kerala State Industrial Development Corporation, they have a partnership. Basically, they are part owners of this. So one thing to note here is that this is a chemical factory in a sense, and the state is a partner here. Now, what this company does is it produces. Okay, so what it does is it produces collagen, which is basically used to create gelatin. Gelatin is the covering which is used for tablets, medicine tablets that you have. And how they create it is it's extracted from animal bones. So they immerse it in acid for a week to 10 days, and then once the outer coverings are taken off, the much softer collagen is collected, and this collagen is later processed into gelatin. Now, another interesting factor is this company does not produce gelatin in this location. This is a rural area, a village by the side of a freshwater river. It does not manufacture gelatin, the end product here. It only manufactures collagen, which is you could say the middle product. So it needs further processing, which is a bit more calibrated process. It's not done at this location. So an allegation of the villagers is that, see, the company does not produce the high-end product here. It just uses this river and this village to dump its waste, and which is partly true. Now I come to the role played by the local self-government bodies in this village. So this is the village Kadikudam, and so Kerala, as many of you might know, has a bit of a history of more empowered rural local bodies. It could be because of the earlier social mobilizations before independence and the communist movements after independence. It's a combination of all of these factors and also literacy. But the result is that the panchayats are assertive when needed. And because of the Panchayat Raj Act, they have the opportunity to do that. And Kerala has also considerably devolved financial powers to the panchayats. So one of the ways in which the panchayat can control an industrial unit working in an area is it controls how it gives permission for licenses. Basically, if you are a dangerous and offensive trade, it's a classification, then you need to get license renewed every year from the panchayat. Now, when protests within the village started gaining momentum, the panchayat members, elected representatives, they sided with the protesters. They backed them. They backed them in the legal cases. They backed them against the police, against the state government, and they refused to renew the license for the company. So this is how the protest rather gathered some level of legitimacy, because unless there is a authority backing some protest or rather giving it a sympathetic ear, it remains a partisan protest. Some groups are protesting. You can always say that some groups are protesting, others are not. It's not affecting everyone. So what is legitimacy in that? But when a panchayat denies it, it gains legitimacy. So this happened in Kadikuda. And once this happened, there was consistent efforts from the state government to suppress the protest. So this is Joji Telekatil. He's a 48-year-old unmarried man. I'm saying unmarried because there is a politics behind this. Now his farmland shares boundary with the company property. Now the end of the company property, which used to be a paddy field, they filled up with the sludge from the factory. Sludge in the sense it's what gets taken out from the bones. So it's very smelly. It smells bad, and they dumped it on that paddy field. They filled it up. They raised the level. Now they have this good PR exercise, by which they are calling it the garden factory, because they have planted a bunch of bamboo trees over the company. So what happens is there is seepage, because this is sludge coming from acid. It's basically HCl dissolved sludge. So there is a lot of acid in that, and the farmland started showing reduction in production, and he had to leave with that. Now he was a youngster when he started being part of the protest. So it was not like he started the protest. The protests were already there from the 90s, mid 80s itself, but it was rather in the minority. The voices were not so strong because there was still hope from part of the people that there will be good things coming out from this company. It's mostly about enticement towards employment. But the company does not employ anyone on permanent basis. The villagers are all employed on contract basis. So he's saying, so basically what he's saying is he's having 60 to 70 cases lodged against him. So these range from obstruction of functioning of company, obstruction of pipeline. So I'll tell you a funny story. So these protesters were so determined. They bought a parcel of land, a 5-cent parcel of land under which the pipeline is going through, and they dug it up. And they tried to concrete the pipeline there. They said you can release your waste within your factory premises. So there is some element of truth also when they lodge cases, but it is rather a protest that they are doing out of helplessness, because they can't sell their land. They can't just sell their land and pack off and leave. He can't get alliances. He couldn't get alliances for marriage because nobody wants to live near a smelly factory. So these are the kind of things which affects, or rather motivates locals into a sense of helplessness. You have to do something now. Now, after years of protest, in 2009, the protest rather gathered momentum. The Panchayat refused to give D&O license, and it refused to do so till 2020. Then how was the company function? The company was going into court, getting orders, and every year they were doing the same. In 2013, the protesters approached the National Green Tribunal. In 2017, the National Green Tribunal came up with a judgment asking the company to implement 24 directions. Now, these directions are a lot for me to unpack here, but the core of it was that the waste released, the effluent released into the river should meet drinking water standards, because this river is a drinking water source. The villages downstream of us draw water from this river for drinking water. So this was the interesting bit from the NGT judgment. The company claims that this is impossible. They are claiming that they don't have the technology. But in different meetings which we have obtained through RTI, the company does admit that it's not that there is no technology, it's just too expensive. So they are saying the expense is 21 crores. Now the interesting solution that they came up with is, so this is the Nita Gelatin company that is shown the yellow dot, and there is a Chalakudi river. So from that point, the solution that they have proposed is they will extend the pipeline to this blue point, the blue marker there, near Puttanveligra. So this is another village. Now the reason being, there is a barrage there which separates the fresh water from the sea, brackish water. So it is no longer drinking water source after that point. So this is a justification, and the company is arguing that we are going to do that. And for that, they proposed to do a study, pipeline feasibility study they wanted to do. This was in 2018, immediately after the NGT judgment came. The company did appeal in High Court. That appeal is still pending, but this was the solution they proposed. Now this is where it gets a bit interesting, because in the second village, the villagers don't want to give NOC for the pipeline. They say the reason being, there is good reasons also, because this village, so the entire orange bit right up to the, even that yellow bit to the blue point, it's all brackish water. So it's not drinking water. You can't use that for drinking. And this village is surrounded by brackish water on the other three sides. There is one small bit also on the left, which is not visible here, but that is also brackish water. This village has serious drinking water issues. It is surrounded by water, but it does not have drinking water. So the panchayat members, the elected members, are opposing it tooth and nail. Now, to bring a bit into the politics behind this panchayat is actually governed by the LDF, which is a left front government, and the left front government is also running the Kerala state. So it's not about political opposition. It's rather an opposition of survival, or rather their own facilities, the standard of living that they want to maintain. Now, since 2018, this panchayat has been opposing the NOC proposal, and you can see on the lower bottom, all those red marks, it's all communications from the panchayat to the state saying that we don't want to give you NOC. What was supposed to be done in 2 months, a simple feasibility study, it stretched for 4 years. The state, what it eventually did is, it issued the NOC itself. How? It issued the NOC through the Kerala State Single Window Clearance Board. Now, another interesting bit is, how is a Single Window Clearance Board dealing with an old project? Because this is just a pipeline, it's not a greenfield project. So, yeah, this is a step forward that happened because of the protest, which is that the drinking water source, when effluent is being released, then it has to meet the drinking water standards. But after these protests, what has happened is the hailed decentralization that happened in Kerala, it's being reversed. The power of the panchayat to refuse a license, D&O license, has been taken away. And secondly, it can no longer do this, which is to not give NOC. If it doesn't give NOC, the Kerala State Single Window Clearance Board gives it itself. This is a justification they give. It's saying Puthamelgire Panchayat had resolved not to give NOC for conducting the feasibility study. So it's acknowledging that the Panchayat doesn't want it, the people don't want it, but this is a decision. Kerala State Single Window Clearance Board is asked to issue NOC to Nitya Jalatin for conducting the feasibility study. Now, we can call this, the Puthamelgire Panchayat is paranoid to say that it's just an NOC study, why are they opposing it? But rather it's about faith. They don't believe the state to stop at that. They don't believe the company to act in good sense because of the history that it has. So even in High Court, a judgment has come which has said that the power of the village panchayat to refuse permission has been taken away. So now this is settled matter. The panchayat is just a onlooker, even though this river is their responsibility, their power, within their powers. Okay, now I'll start with Telangana, about illegal municipalities. So this was an interesting research we did. So this is Manuguru. This is a town map of Manuguru in Manuguru Municipality Office. Now it's an urban local body created in 2005. It is falling within a Schedule 5 area. This is a makeshift office they have since then. They have not been able to upgrade it. But interesting thing over here is that since 2005 there has not been any election, which is an urban local body without an elected body. And they are doing rather well because they are amongst the best performing municipalities in Telangana in terms of property tax collection. I think some states, some country had a provision which said no taxation without representation, but it doesn't apply here. So this is basically it. Okay, so there is for village panchayats, there is a provision, there is an act which was passed, PESA, by which panchayats could be extended to Schedule 5 areas, but for municipalities, there is no provision as such. Now, this is the special commissioner in charge of Manuguru. So, she is the one who heads. It's the municipalities run by officers only. So, she is saying the population in Manuguru qualifies it to be a municipality, but it is falling in a Schedule 5 area. So, it does not, that reasoning does not apply there. And another interesting bit is he's a tribal from Manuguru. He's saying even villages which are 5 kilometers away from the town have been included to make up this number to qualify it as a municipality. Now, why is this happening? So, this is Katiboina Kotaya. He is from a village named Kottakondapuram. Now, Kottakondapuram means New Kondapuram. So, where is Old Kondapuram? Old Kondapuram is a settlement which has been taken over by SCCL, Singareni Coal Mine Collieries Limited. So, after being displaced from there, they were settled in a new settlement colony of 47 families, and that place was named as Kottakondapuram. And SCCL has a huge presence in Manuguru. So, they have been operating there since the 1920s. Now, this is a solar power plant that SCCL is running. It has been leased out to Bell. And interesting bit is his village, new settlement colony. This has been, a part of it has been taken over for the solar plant. Now, it is their burial ground which has been taken over. So, they have been displaced once. Again, the land has been taken over without compensation or anything. Because it's not necessarily their right. It's a burial ground that they were using. And secondly, there is no Grama Sabha that they have taken part in ever since this new settlement is formed. And SCCL was providing drinking water facilities and road. They have paved a road there in this small settlement. That was a facility that they had given until now. Now SCCL is saying that this Kottakondapuram has to rely on the municipality. It is no longer the company's responsibility to give these facilities. Now, another unit over there in Manuguru is heavy water plant. So this supplies to the India's nuclear power project, and it is the largest such production facility in India. So in Manuguru, around 25,000 of the 32,000 population are tribals, and the outsiders are employed in these units. So this is SCCL transporting coal to ITC, which I will come to. Because Manuguru is not the only place where such illegal municipalities without representation are existing. Just next, on the other side of Godavari, this is river Godavari, is Bhadrajalam. Bhadrajalam also was converted in 2005. But because of court cases and all, in 2013, elections were held. It was reconverted into a panchayat and elections were held. But after the term ended in 2018, because there was a proposal to again convert it into municipality, they have not held elections since. So if you look at this, in the 1980s when ITC first started here, almost majority of the population in Bhadrajalam were tribals, whereas now almost 90% are non-tribals. So the justification to maintain its Schedule 5 area status also does not exist anymore because majority are non-tribals. So this is a fear that people of Manuguru also feel, that over time their rights will also get similarly washed away. They will also become voiceless in their own town. So these are constructions that are happening in Manuguru now. But as per the municipality, there is no way any construction can be given permission for. Across India, there are 181 such urban local bodies existing. And as per our research, this number is from 2003. There has not been any updation. We tried through RTI, but ministries are saying they don't have any data. And but as per our research, we are seeing that at least 31 new Schedule 5 districts have been formed across the country. A difficulty in assessing this number accurately is the formation of new districts and a lack of new data. And this is the legislative vacuum within which such municipalities are existing. Because there was a bill which was proposed in earlier. municipalities' extension to scheduled areas. This was similar to PESA, but that has not been heard of since. The latest update is it is with the state governments. So next and finally, I would like to talk about Tamil Nadu and how poor implementation of FRA in the state has affected the tribal. So this is Guru Tadnur village in Krishnagiri district, and none of the tribals here have got FRA titles issued yet. They have been trying for 10 to 12 years. And so when it comes to across India, Tamil Nadu is almost the fifth worst. It's the fifth worst. Only Bihar actually fares worse in terms of a bigger state with a considerable population. Others are smaller, much smaller states. So this is since 2008. Actually, FRA title started being issued only in 2017 in Tamil Nadu. But there was a case filed and all. Now within Tamil Nadu, Krishnagiri fares the worst because it has only issued 71 titles till now, out of 1,200 odd applications. Now, one of the things that we need to look at is why do people apply for titles? Because even after the 71 people who have been issued titles, they are not able to access their rights as is envisaged by the Act. So, what is the aspiration behind tribals applying for FRA titles? They want to become like they want to pursue agriculture activities or whatever activities is financially helpful for them. So this is Muniamma. She has an FRA title, but she was prevented from digging a borewell on her land by forest officials, saying that you don't have the right to do it. Because apparently Forest Rights Act is just rights. It's not ownership. That is the interpretation that is prevalent within forest officials in Tamil Nadu. Now this is Shivraj. Shivraj's family moved out from forests or moved into settled agriculture just a generation back. But once he tried to get free electricity connection, which is given by the state government to agricultural pump sets for irrigation purposes, he was denied permission, saying that they do not acknowledge FRA titles. So these are procedural problems, even after getting these FRA titles. And this is Dharman. So he is basically saying, after pursuing FRA for these many years and getting the title, he's much worse off because he wasted so many years trying to get this papers through. And this is a borewell that he has dug. So it's not uniform. It's in the same district. Muniamma was denied permission to dig a borewell. But behind her, I don't know if you can see it, but behind her, the forest department has dug a borewell there. Same forest land, same area, same village. But the forest says that Muniamma can't do it to irrigate her land. So there's no uniform reasoning for anything. And in Dharman's case, he has a borewell, he has a diesel pump, but it's too expensive to run it now because it costs around 300 rupees a day and he is not going to get that much in return. So he is dependent on state electricity. He wants that, but he is denied that. The electricity board does not accept their applications. So what is the way forward? In some states, in Orissa, for instance, there has been considerable action towards convergence of state government schemes with FRA title, so that there is an much easier transition. And this year, Orissa has issued notification saying that ROR has to be given to anyone who has been issued FRA title. And that's it. Thank you.